from London with us. A very warm welcome to all of you at this webinar, which today focuses on how to expand your business to the UK. And we have an expert panel today with us who would be, sharing details to people who have interest to do business in UK with UK via investment, expansion, or any kind of support services they seek in UK for their own businesses. So without further ado, I would like to invite our National Executive Committee member, Mr. Dinesh Joshi, who's also CMD of Subsidiary Ventures Private Limited, to give welcome remarks on behalf of FICCI.
Thank you, Deepak ji. Dr. Mohan Kaul, President, Indian Partnership Forum, London. Mr. Steve Rodell, Managing Director, Retail, Christie and Company, London. Mr. Yash Dubal, Managing Director, AY&J Solicitor, London. Friends from the industry, very good morning and good afternoon. On behalf of FICCI, it's my great pleasure to welcome all the speakers and delegates to today's webinar on how to expand your business to the UK. The UK and India are two of the world's most vibrant and dynamic economies. Individually, each presents major opportunities for trade and investment. Combine them, they are unbeatable, as underlined by the strong bilateral flows of trade and investment. Now that the UK has left the EU and India looks to fulfill its massive potential, the opportunities for UK-India business collaboration are growing exponentially. The story is not just about the future opportunity. We know very well that Indians have always preferred to do business in UK, and it is not just the existing companies, but also the new entrants who are looking at the host of opportunities. The UK and India are among the top investors in each other's economies, bringing significant long-term benefit to both. Indian companies in the UK, as well as companies owned by Indian diaspora combined, create over 400,000 jobs in the UK with a total turnover of 80 billion pounds in 2019. Through the recently announced Enhanced Trade Partnership and Roadmap for 2030, India and UK have agreed to deepen their economies' ties by removing additional barriers and pave the way for a free trade agreement. In March this year, FICCI, in partnership with the Indian High Commission of India in UK and other partners, released a research report, Ascent, accelerating UK-India trade towards £50 billion. We are pleased that the Roadmap 2030 also targets to double the trade from the current level to reach £50 billion. As we get closer to a trade deal, it is important that we deepen the regional engagement to identify and evaluate the possibilities for future collaboration. In January 2021, the UK implemented the new points-based immigration system. This is a landmark reform in the immigration system of the UK. I am sure the new visa system will be able to achieve its aim to attract the brightest and the best from the rest of the world, including India. The system will also ensure that Indians now will be able to find it very easy to work and study in the UK by making it a level playing field for applicants from all countries. In today's webinar, some of the recent developments will be covered. The experts will share straightforward help and advice for those who seek answers to each question. How to establish a new business in the UK as a subsidiary of your business in India. How to buy a business or invest in a profit-making business in the UK and get a permission to stay. How to get support for single-point business services and support for banking, office facilities, marketing, and many others for your business in the UK. I am confident answers to some of these questions will be beneficial to the participants and will help in deciding a future course of action on starting or enhancing trade and investment in the UK. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dineshji, for setting the tone and why we are here together in this webinar. So thank you very much for your opening comments.
Thank
Now,
you.
experts do the talking. So let me invite Yash Tubal, who's the director of the managing director of AYNJ Solicitor from London. He would be today talking about how to establish a new business in the UK or expand your business to the UK. He's kind of a walking proof that people can create successful, prosperous lives in a new country. He himself, came to the UK in 2003 and founded his firm on the principle of honesty, professionalism, reliability, and approachability. And today, the firm has reached its peak and is now a legal 500 law firm, and has also won Best Immigration Law Firm award. So Yash, over to you. We're keen to listen to you and see your presentation.
Thank you so much, Deepak. Thank you, Dineshji, for the introduction. Thank you so much, everyone, being here. Thank you, Steve and Dr. Cole and Param to join as well. Very, very good afternoon, my Indian fellow citizens. I was born and brought up in India, came to UK in 2003. And today, I just wanted to share this opportunity. Post Brexit, there are a lot of opportunities for foreign investment. Now there is no more EU concept for the UK, so we are on same level field as Dineshji has just mentioned 2 minutes back. So in this webinar, which will run around 60 minutes, and of course we have a very live Q&A with myself and Steve. We'll just share whatever we think is the best opportunity for you if you are thinking to expand to the UK, either your own business as a subsidiary, or you want to invest and take over or acquire the UK business, which might be in profit making. Steve will, of course, cover that aspect of it. So I think if I may be allowed to make it more interactive, and because we have a number of attendees here and they have expectation, we have almost 50 attendees. And then your 1.5 hours is more important than just my or probably Steve or panelist 1 hour. So may I please invite, what do you want to get out of this webinar? If you want to take one thing away after 1 hour, 1.5 hours of your investment today, what would that be? So if we get to know, we can of course tweak and twist and give you the information you need today on this webinar, rather than just running through the slides we have. So it's more about the best investment of your time today on this webinar. So I would invite your comments. What would you expect? What will make this webinar success for you today? So if I can start receiving your comments in the chat box now, it'd be very, very, very helpful for me and Steve to give you that precise information you need today, right? So please, 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 all participants, all attendees, I would invite your comment. What do you expect from this webinar? What is the one thing, if you can take away today, by the end of it, will make it a success webinar for you? So please, please start dropping your comment while I'm just continuing with my presentation. I would invite your comment. We just want to work for you for next 1.5 hours. We want to give you exactly what you're looking for today on this webinar to make it a successful webinar for you. Just to again introduce myself, my name is Yash Tubal. I'm managing director at AYNJ Solicitors, who is a multi-award winning Legal 500 specialized UK immigration law firm. But we are just more than UK immigration law firm. So we bring in strategic partners who can help you to achieve what you want to achieve. That is to expand your business as a subsidiary, or acquire a business and then come live in the UK and settle down in the UK. So what will you get from this webinar? So there are 5 things we will cover in this webinar. Number 1, how to establish a new business in the UK or as a subsidiary of your business in India. So whatever the business you have in India, you can set up a branch office. You can set up a branch office. So that is number 1 point we will cover definitely. Number 2, which is the biggest one, Steve from Christian Co will cover. Just to give you a bit of background, Christian Co is one of the largest business brokerage firm in the UK. And we have this opportunity to have Steve on this webinar who will share. He's a managing director and he knows in and out about how to acquire business in the UK. So he will, of course, guide you through point number 2, which is to invest in the UK, starting from, let's say, 2.5 crore rupees, roughly around £250,000 onwards, £500,000 or £1 million you can invest and acquire a profit-making business. Now, when you invest and when you extend as a branch office, you want to sort out your visas, right? Your permissions to stay in the UK. So, of course, point number 3 we will cover is how you can we can facilitate that visa solution for you so that yourself and your family can come to the UK, live in the UK, and also gain British citizenship. That's number 3. And number 4, which we'll cover, is a single point business service. So when you come to the UK and probably if you don't have a much connection or contact in the UK, you want services, business services, which is banking, office facilities, marketing, sales, and many others. So I'll cover a little bit of that, how we can help and probably put you in a right direction where you can get help, proper help to just run your business properly, settle down in the UK properly. So that is number 4. And number 5 is live Q&A with myself and Steve. So at the end of webinar, I have also a bonus gift to give it away to all attendees. And of course, you will hear that by the end of it. So without any further delay, let's start how to establish a business in the UK as a subsidiary. While I'm trying to read some comments. Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much. What business we can start in the UK? So we have fantastic comment. This is what helps us to deliver the best webinar, right? I don't believe in just running through my slides. I believe in just focusing what my attendee is looking for. So we'll definitely cover all these points for you guys. Please bear with us. We have the perfect preparation for you to give you the information you need today. So let me share my slides now with you. Right. Hope you can see this.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So how to expand your business to the UK? We have covered what you will get in this webinar. It's been covered. So now let's look how to establish a new business in the UK or as a subsidiary of your business in India. So I'll just cover through some of the visa options. And the reason is like, you need permission to be in the UK, right? If you want to establish a branch office, you need visa, UK visa. And what my understanding is based on my last 10 years experience, these options were there. And there are few more new options UK government has introduced with new point-based system. So I want to share less known option. And I also want to share the new option which UK government has introduced post-Brexit. Now, some of the options are is not known very well. And number 1, I will pick, and I've just picked only 3 options. Just make it simple for you, right? That's what you want to know. You don't want to be overwhelmed with so much information. You just want little information which is precise and serves your purpose. And so I've picked up only 3 options, which I think is the most relevant for today's attendee on this webinar. That's what I've done. I worked very hard preparing this presentation, and I've thought a lot to make it very concise and very valuable and very powerful presentation for you. So number 1 option I will cover, this is the sole representative visa. Now, to be eligible, you should be outside EEA or Switzerland. Now, EU is not anymore considered. So if you are outside the UK, if your business is outside the UK, and if you have enough money to support yourself, and if you meet the English language requirement, you will qualify for sole representative visa. Furthermore, what you need, you should be an established business, legally trading overseas. And if you wish to open up a branch office, you can send one of your senior member of staff to the UK to open and set up a branch in the UK. It's so simple. You do not need a minimum turnover. You do not need minimum number of staff. You do not need minimum number of trading years of experience. So what do you need? All you need is an active trading company with an intention to set up a branch office in the UK. That's all you need. And that's number 1 requirement. Number 2 requirement, which is more important, is you have to have enough funds to set up that branch office. And mostly, the common question I get asked, because I've been doing it for last 10 years, very common question, what is that number? Yash, tell us the number. How much money do I need to set up a branch office in the UK? So my advice, and I'll just throw some rough estimated number to make it easy for you. You need some number to pick up and to start working with that. And that number I would suggest is around £50,000. And that's all to start with. If it's service-based business, if you don't need big premises to hire and rent, all you need is just around £50,000 to set up a branch office in the UK to get a sole representative visa. What you are doing, your intention is to set up a branch of your overseas business. Remember that. You're trying to set up a branch office. Whatever the business you have overseas, you're trying to set up a branch office in the UK. That sort of money, if you have at hand, and if you have intention to set up a branch office, you can send one of your senior member of staff to the UK to set up this branch, right? Now, what are the pros and cons of that? So the pros and cons, I would say there is no minimum investment required, right? There is no other hard and fast required. But the downside is, if you are a majority shareholder and if you wish to come to the UK, you cannot use this route. So someone who is not a majority shareholder only can qualify for sole representative visa. What it means, it can be a senior member of staff not having majority shareholding in the company, or one of the partner who is not having a majority shareholding. Now, just very important points to note here. If you are a 50-50 partner, nobody is majority shareholder and one of them can come to the UK as a sole representative. The requirement is not to be a majority shareholder. So then you can then appoint yourself as a sole representative with a view of opening up a branch office in the UK. So that's like very top level information around sole representative visa. Now look at the benefit. The benefit is you get 3 years straight visa, and then after you can extend it for 2 more years. And after total 5 years, you get permanent residency in the UK. And after another year, you may qualify for British citizenship. You can bring your spouse and children under 18 years old to accompany you. And spouse will have a very flexible right to work. And you can travel overseas up to 180 days per year, which is a very generous allowance. 180 days is a half of the time. If you stay in the UK half of the time, it's be fine for you to get permanent residency. So these are the benefits, like, again, bullet points I've covered. And so that's sole representative visa. No minimum investment required. And it's straightforward, right? We have done it. We do at least 10 to 15 applications a month now. It's now very popular. And we provide like comprehensive support to the applicants. Let's talk about the option number 2, which is a skilled worker visa that includes self-sponsorship option, which is not very famous. This is a very brand new option I have discovered post-Brexit immigration, as per the post-Brexit immigration rule. It's not very well used or very well known. It was introduced in December 2020, so it's a very, very new concept. Now, for this, you might need help of Steve, right? And of course, Steve will, of course, cover his part, how to acquire a business. And this is the very beautiful option, and I want to share with you. So this is how it works in practical terms, right? Again, it's a top level information. For more detailed nitty-gritty, of course, we can talk about it in a separate one-to-one call. But the top level information, you acquire a business in the UK. Once you acquire the business, then we get a license for business to recruit overseas staff. And then through that business, you can then sponsor yourself to come under work permit. So in a very simpler terms, you are actually self-sponsoring yourself. then what is that number? How much money do I need to invest? I mean, it's up to you, but we believe a business worth, let's say, 2.5 crore onwards, maybe £250,000, £500,000 or £1 million, then of course the sky is the limit. And of course, Steve will cover the options you have at hand to acquire UK-based business. But once you acquire that, then we can then facilitate this work permit for you so that you can yourself and your family and your children can come to the UK to run that business, right? And of course, you will have it because it's up and running, established business. There might be an established team which is running the business. It might be a profitable business, so you might be managing at the end of the. That's how I see. To qualify for it, all you need is a UK employer. So actually, you become a UK employer by acquiring the business, and we get the permission from the Home Office it to be approved as a sponsor. We can do that. And then we assign a certificate of sponsorship for you to yourself and for the job, which is like to manage the business. And you need to be paid minimum salary, which is £26,000 a year minimum. That's the minimum salary. It starts from £26,000. If your business can pay that salary to yourself, you can get the work permit. So it's like self-sponsorship option. You also need to meet English language requirement, which is very basic. It's a B1. So in IELTS, you need to score reading, writing, speaking, listening, 5 band in each section. So that is minimum requirement of English language. Alternatively, if you have studied in English medium, bachelor's or master's degree in India, which mostly acceptable. Or if you have studied bachelor's or master's degree in English speaking country, it's also good. So this is the second option I wanted to share with you, and I think it's the most relevant after sole representative visa. If you want to acquire business and not want to set up a branch office by sending a senior member of staff, or if you say, look, I'm a majority shareholder and I want to be in the UK, so you cannot qualify for a sole representative visa. In that case, I think the option 2 is the most relevant. What are the benefits? The benefit is you get permanent residence in just 5 years. Bring your spouse and children under 18. Spouse will have a flexible right to work, and you can travel abroad throughout the 5 years up to 180 days, same as sole representative visa, to qualify for ILR, which is indefinitely to remain settlement. And after 1 more year, you may qualify for British citizenship as well, and you get the British passport. Option 3. Now, someone is said, oh, but I can't do English language test, or I cannot be bothered to do English language test, and I have about 20 crore rupees to invest in UK, right? Then go with investor visa. It's £2 million investment. Again, you can acquire business or UK shares. So you can acquire shares of UK-based company, acquire UK business indirectly, directly. But you cannot invest this money in UK real estate. However, you can buy a business which is a part and parcel of UK real estate. For an example, Steve might probably provide you suggestions, probably a hotel worth 2 million, which is fine, and it comes with real estate. There are other businesses which comes with real estate, but you need to invest to acquire a UK-based business. You just need to acquire the UK shares and acquire UK business. But you cannot invest in a real estate for this £2 million directly. So this is investor visa option. And of course, all you need is £2 million straight to invest. And once you get the tier 1 investor visa, you need to invest this money in just 3 months' time. So that is the requirement. And then you need to provide the source of funds as well when you get investor visa. You don't need to do English language test. That's the biggest probably difference with compared to the other options we've been talking about. And that's all about it. Otherwise, there is no other difference I can see from the benefit point of view. Benefits are same, except no English language requirement. So you get settlement in 5 years. You can bring your spouse and children under 18. Flexible right to work for full family. So full family can work wherever, however they like, and you can travel up to 180 days to get permanent residency settlement. So these are the options I wanted to cover. Single point business service. Let me talk about that. So when you of course, try and migrate to the UK. You want relocation service, you want service where you can set up a company, business banking. You need accountant who can set up your registration with the government, HMRC, how to pay tax, where to pay tax. So you need accountancy services, VAT, and all that. And at times you need help with marketing because you don't know the country well, you don't know the culture, you don't know people here. So you need marketing services to generate lead, generate business. You also need sales services, someone who can sell services, right? So what we can do, we can signpost you to the best of the best service provider. These are all our strategic partners. We then signpost you to each specialist. We will provide you top 5 options of relocation services. We'll provide you top 5 option of setting up business. We'll provide you top 5 option of accountancy services, top 5 option for marketing consultants and sales consultant. On top of that, Christie & Co is a group of many companies, and of course, Steve can advise what other services they can offer as Christie & Co. So we can help you with that, right? We can become a single point contact for you and provide you various strategic partners who I have been working with for last 17 years now, right? Who has been tried and trusted, cost effective, and same time they bring in the results you need for your business and for yourself. So we can do that definitely. Now, how to buy a business or invest in a profit-making business in the UK? Over to Steve Rodell from Christie & Co. Steve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yash. I'm just going to sort my screens out so you can see my slides. Just tell me when you can see.
Sure. Yeah.
The slide. Excellent.
Yeah, I can see that.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed, and thank you very much for allowing me to talk today. I'm going to run through a few things which will give you an introduction to what we do and how we can help you. I'm going to provide you with some insight into the markets that we deal with and why you should invest in them. We'll talk a little bit about fixed income opportunities, which are the real estate investments that Yash was mentioning a little while ago, versus operational involvement, which is what is important if you cannot invest in the real estate. And then really, I suppose, from our perspective, what the agent out there needs you to do as a buyer and some next steps. So I apologize for the small writing on some of these slides, but I think they will be circulated in the fullness of time, Yash, if I'm not wrong. So an introduction as to who we are and what we do. So I'm the managing director of Christie & Co, and I sit on the board alongside a number of other managing directors who oversee the sectors that we specialize in the UK. And if you look at the middle of this slide, you'll see that we have a care team, a childcare team, a medical team, hotels, restaurants, pubs, other leisure that doesn't come into any of the above, and my part of the business, which is retail. And the reason that we specialize in those particular areas is that the businesses that operate in the property adds value. So this is really important from the point of view Yash was talking about. If you're looking to invest in a business in the UK and you've got £2 million to invest, let's say, for example, if you cannot invest that in a property investment, then you can buy a hotel or a childcare business or a pharmacy, a dentist, a restaurant, a pub, or some kind of retail business with some kind of operational involvement, and you'll qualify. Just sort of skipping back to the left-hand side of that slide there, we've been going 85 years now, and we're listed on the alternative investment market in the UK under Christie Group PLC. And we have offices across the whole of the UK and in Europe, and each of our offices and each of the people that are located in each of those regions deals with all of those different specialist sectors. We have around 250 agents, valuers and consultants, and the really important thing to mention here is that we are regulated by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. And that may or may not mean anything to you, but basically it's a quality assurance tab, if you like. It means that we act with integrity and in a professional way. And we enjoy the same sort of status as solicitors and accountants in the UK in terms of how we treat our clients. So Whatever you do in the UK, please do look for regulated bodies, because anyone can become an agent buying and selling businesses or properties. If they're not qualified, you could lose money, frankly. We act on behalf of a full range of clients, and we offer a number of key services. First and foremost, agency and brokerage. So we buy, sell, let, and acquire business operations in all of those sectors I've mentioned across the UK. We also provide valuations on those businesses. So if you're buying a business through somebody else, for example, and need to raise a loan through a bank, we will provide the bank with a valuation in any of those specialist sectors that we deal with. We can do valuation for company accounting purposes once you're up and running, which is one of the sort of financial requirements. But we also have a consultancy team. So if you're looking to buy a sizable business in the UK, we can help you with due diligence services in terms of looking through the data room that's been provided and providing a financial review on the business and so on. All of those services are provided in those sectors. We're not experts in other areas. So for example, if you asked us to look at a manufacturing business, we can't help you. Those specialist sectors are the ones that we focus on. So, oops, sorry, just skipped on a few slides there. So again, just to give you an idea of some of our client base, we have exposure to some of the biggest private equity companies in the world, and we've done work for those and are in touch with them. We deal with all of the high street banks and some that you may not have heard of as well in the UK. We deal with property investment companies, we deal with debt funds, and we deal with a wide range of clients in the specialist sectors that we deal with, all the way from the top guys all the way down to the little guy that's got one site. And there may be some names on there that you recognize if you know anything about the UK, but EG Group at the top left hand side there of the right hand column, they started off with one petrol filling station in Lancashire probably 20 years ago, and they now have thousands of properties in the forecourt and convenience industry across the USA, Europe and the UK. And we're currently doing some work with them at the minute because they're buying Asda. So that's kind of a view of who we work for and some of the credentials that we're able to demonstrate. And next, really, I suppose, and probably most importantly for those of you that don't know us, is how can we help you? So I've explained a little bit about what Christie & Co do. So if you're looking to buy a business in any of the sectors that we specialize in, we're brokers. We can go and find businesses for you to purchase. Our main operation is to go out and act on behalf of vendors who have said, I want to sell my business. So we have a website where you can go on and find businesses for sale that we've put up on there. We also have a mortgage brokerage business called Christie Finance, does what it says on the tin. They are an independent mortgage brokerage, FCA regulated, which means that they are authorised to advise on financial products in the UK. They've been going over 40 years, and they specialise in the sectors that we deal with. We work really closely with them. So if someone's buying a business through Christie & Co, we refer Christie Finance if the buyer needs to borrow money. They will also do deals that we're not involved in. So once you're in touch with Christie Finance and you're looking at a business through somebody else, then they can still help you. They can still raise the loan. You don't need to be buying it through Christie & Co. And they are in touch with all the main lending institutions in the UK, and they have their finger on the pulse as to who's lending on what at the moment. There are some sectors which sometimes get flagged by the UK banks as being a red flag sector. They know exactly which are the ones that are open for lending on. We have Christie Insurance. They provide all sorts of insurance products across all of the things you would ever want to know about in terms of owning a business. Pinders is a really interesting one in the middle there. They do building services and surveys on properties that you might be looking to buy, so they can help you with due diligence when you're buying. And if we are conflicted with a valuation project, in other words, we can't act with independence because we're selling a business, they can do the valuation work as well. They are an arm's length business within the Christie Group. Venners do stock taking, primarily in the licensed sector, so in the pub, restaurant, hotel area, but they are branching out, and they do a little bit of quality assurance as well, and health and safety. Orage do much larger scale stock taking. It's all electronic, barcoded numbers. They do work for Tesco PLC. They do work for the Co-op Group. They're very, very large scale, and they can get a lot of people into businesses with multiple sites across the UK. So they can help with stock taking, which might be important when you're buying a business as well. Venisys provide electronic point of sale and ticketing solutions to different industries. For example, they do the electronic ticketing when you book online to go and visit Legoland in Windsor in the UK. They do the ticketing for Legoland and Alton Towers and a number of other attractions like that. And then last but not least, that little picture at the bottom there on the right hand side, that is the journey of acquiring, developing, operating, and eventually selling a business. And the small writing in there, which I'll let you read at your leisure, just tells you all of the things that we can do through your ownership journey of that business. So that's kind of who we are. That's what we do. What I'm going to do now is just drill in a little bit into the UK convenience retail market, which is what I specialize in. I know there's lots of questions that have popped up on the Q&A about lots of other sectors, but this is one of those sectors to focus on. So the UK convenience retail sector, it accounts for 1/5 of the UK grocery market. It's huge. There are around 50,000 convenience stores in the UK, and you may be surprised to hear that probably 72% are run by independent retailers. And I don't mind saying that a very, very large majority, a very large proportion of those owners, and we have a lot of clients, are Indians, Pakistanis, Asians from Sri Lanka, all over the world. You know, it's a very, very well-trodden path to come into the UK and invest in a convenience business. And you can invest in one store at a family level, or you can buy a package of 10 stores if you've got the resources to do so. The reason that the sector is really exciting at the moment, though, is because pre-pandemic, it was already in compound growth. You know, we as consumers in the UK are more and more shopping conveniently, and sadly, the art of cooking and things like that is being lost, or people can't be bothered, or they just haven't got time, actually. And so the convenience stores have grown, food service has grown, and it's continuing to grow at an exponential rate. Particularly during the COVID restrictions, convenience stores were deemed an essential service, and so we're able to stay open for the entirety of the pandemic and all of the lockdowns. And so consequently, there's been a real boost in trade for the convenience industry. And it's a bit of an unsung hero. You know, the NHS in the UK got lots of plaudits, but actually local shopkeepers did their bit as well in terms of looking after people that were vulnerable, self-isolating, shielding, and so on, and provided lots of local services. And so it's got a really good reputation now. You know, having a local convenience store in the heart of a community is a good thing to have. And when you look at its competition in the high street has taken an absolute battering. Shopping has moved online. People have not been able to go into shops like clothes and shoe shops and so on. And so, you know, it's been a really good sector to go in compared to others. And, you know, there's good trading fundamentals. We're in a low interest environment in the UK, and there's lots of capital available. So the market's very busy and there's lots of opportunities out there. There are very low barriers to entry. You know, okay, there might be things to do around your citizenship, and specifically from a regulatory perspective, I think you can only have a post office in the UK if you're a resident. And I think, which is one of the most important services in a local shop. And I think you can only hold a license to sell alcohol in a shop as well if you're not a criminal, and possibly as well if you're a resident too. But you know, there's a lot of investment going into this area. Just to give you some idea, the average independently owned convenience store trades at around £15,000 per week and produces a gross margin somewhere between 20 and 30%. Those turnovers can go up significantly. Some of the larger corporates are disposing of stores at the moment where turnover can be £40,000 a week. And actually the large corporates can't make those work because staffing is heavy, there's regulation, they can't be dynamic in terms of making decisions. But those cast-offs are really good independent businesses, and we're at the moment selling quite a few of those into the independent market and making some really good little companies. In terms of the route to entry to working in this sector, and this will be similar for many sectors across the UK, it may not just apply to retail. You may come in as an employee. just to learn the business. And that's a pretty good starting point if you can do it. You may then move up to take a license to operate that store. You don't own the property, but you're given the responsibility of operating a business, which gets you the next step on the ladder, if that makes sense, in terms of understanding the regulation and the administration around operating a business such as that. You can then start owning your own business. Now that might be owning your own property, and you can either buy freehold or take a lease on a property. A leasehold option is where you pay a rent to the landlord who owns the freehold. You operate the business with the protection of certain legislation, so they can't just throw you out, which means you can invest in the property and invest in the business and get a return on your investment a lot quicker. If you're interested in putting money into the real estate, then you can buy many businesses that are freehold operational businesses. So you buy the freehold and the business together. You're then operating that business and you own the freehold property. And that's the important bit about what Yash was talking about. You know, if you cannot invest your £2 million directly in real estate, you can invest £2 million in an operational business. And then the final point, which touches on that, is you could just become a real estate investor. If you qualify, you can buy the freehold of a property and rent it to a Tesco, a Sainsbury's, an Asda, or any of the other institutions out there in the UK that want to operate their operate their business in your property. And there's an established real estate investment market in the UK, which is driven by yield and an underlying financial performance of the companies taking those leases. Further reading available at christie.com. We've got a news and resource section which you can have a look at. And if you're interested in the convenience retail industry, I would really urge you to look at the local shop report, which is published by the Association of Convenience Stores. And moving away from retail and my specialism, some of the questions that came up on the Q&A were around what is the best sector to invest in? How can I invest in textiles in the UK? How can I get into farming in the UK? The UK is a really, really good place to get in touch with trade bodies. So, for example, with convenience retail, the Association of Convenience Stores is the mouthpiece and the piece that represents to Parliament issues around the convenience industry. And they've got lots of statistics, lots of resources for you to look at if you're interested in investing and doing business in those areas. And there's loads and loads of events normally that happen around that industry, which you can go to and showcase and have a stand and things like that. It's the same for all other industries in the UK. Google is a wonderful thing. If you're interested in textiles, Google textile businesses in the UK. You'll find a trade body which will have lots of good information about the size of the market, where the opportunities are, where the networking is, where the events are, and so on and so forth. So as a piece of general advice, use Google or whatever search engine you tend to use, and do some research on your industry and what the events and opportunities are to meet people. It's all about meeting people in the UK, as I'm sure it is everywhere else. So enough about retail and the wider market from that perspective. Just in terms of pricing, this index is a Christie & Co index of all businesses we sell, and this goes back to 2005. In fact, we keep the records back to, I think, 1986, but relevant for the last sort of 20 years or so. We've got a graph that looks very typical in the UK for many industries and many economic indicators. So we got to 2007 where you see that first peak, and that was when we hit the credit crunch and recession that lasted 3 or 4 years through to the 2011 and 12, where prices started to recover, banks were lending again, and economic activity was picking up significantly. And as you can see, the graphs then moved up through sort of 2014, 15, 16, 17, and 18 to get to where we were in 2019 pre-pandemic. And we were actually riding the wave of a pretty good market across all of our sectors. Pandemic comes along, of course, and I think that graph will probably take a downward turn in some sectors. The great thing about retail is I suspect it will stay the same. It will stay consistent. And that was the same through the recession. You'll see the light blue solid graph didn't dip off as much as, for example, the yellow graph. The yellow graph shows you what happens to the values of hotels, which dipped off really badly. Retail stayed reasonably flat because actually being a needs-based business, key performance indicators remained in place and trade was good. So that's where pricing has gone in terms of his, the last 20 years or so. And we're in a really good place in the retail industry at the moment because it's been an essential service and there's good trading performance and it's in demand. So it's a good industry to get into. So moving on to more practical steps, and what you can do to go and buy a business in the UK. And I'm going to talk about retail, but think laterally for any other industry. It's the same sorts of things that you need to think about. Do the research, find out who's selling those businesses that you might be interested in buying. We've got a website, christie.com. There's something like 1,500 to 2,000 businesses for sale at any one time. There's also a lot of stuff that doesn't appear on the website where the client doesn't want to advertise, but we know is for sale. So getting a relationship with the agents in the UK is really important. You need to decide then what you're looking for. Is it a fixed term property investment, which obviously has a lower risk profile, so the pricing is probably a bit higher? Or are you looking for an operational business where you're going to be involved in the operation of the business, or you're going to employ a management team that's going to be involved in the operation of the business, where there's more risks involved because you've got to make sure the business makes a profit? So because there's a high risk involved, the pricing is lower because you want to make more profit out of that rather than paying it away in rent, for example. And just going back to the first point, the investment markets. I know somebody asked about investments in the UK. Generally, leases are becoming shorter. We used to have a thing called the 25-year institutional lease, which was the pretty basic way that most people took leases. You didn't really get a choice as a tenant as to what the length of the lease was. That has been eroded to some degree. They are still available in the hottest locations and with the best properties because it's a supply and demand thing. But for example, in the retail sector we work in, because habits change, businesses change, and in particular with the petrol filling station industry, there's some clouds on the horizon with electric charging and so on. The leases are now probably 10 years, 15 years, maybe 10 years with an option to extend by 5 years. Getting a 15-year lease is a pretty good length of term. The yields that you'll expect to pay, 20 times rent or 5% for the best covenants, so for BP or Shell or Tesco's or one of those guys, maybe 4 or 5%. 20 to 23 times annual rent is the going rate for the current investments out there. If you're happy to take a view on the covenant and take somebody that is a very solid business, will pay the rent, but it's not such a high street name, you'll get better value for money and the yields push out to 6 or 7%. Moving on to really, I suppose, the operational side of the business, the pricing you pay depends on the profitability. But generally, if you're buying a leasehold business, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the adjusted net profit, the adjusted EBITDA is about the going rate. If you're buying a freehold property, you need to add on the value of the freehold property, and that value does vary depending on where you are in the UK. Clearly, London and the southeast of the UK is very, very well populated by probably the most affluent population. So they're the most sought after areas. That's where the freehold properties are most expensive. If you move out to the north of England or the Midlands where, the values are a bit less, then you'll get better value for money when you invest. So deciding where you want to invest is also a consideration. To be honest with you, when you land at Heathrow, 2 hours gets you into some really good value parts of the UK. You can be in Birmingham and the Midlands. You can almost be in Wales. And the prices out there are much less than they are in London and the southeast. So, the shrewd investor is going to find a good business in those provincial areas rather than just going, I want to be in London. So in terms of how much you want to invest, in terms of financing, you'll probably need a 50% deposit, maybe 60%, maybe 40% if you've got a track record in an industry. But if something's for sale for £2 million, let's say it's a hotel asset, for example, you're going to need £1 million to put down as a deposit, possibly a little more with some working capital, depending on what the business needs going forward. And that'll to some extent dictate what you can buy. This is where having a conversation with someone like Christie Finance is really important, because they can tell you what you can afford to buy with the collateral that you've got already. And then I suppose the sector as well. There's been lots of questions around the Q&A, which sectors should we invest in? And if I just touch on the things we deal with, I'll give you a snapshot of what's happened. The hotel market came to a standstill for COVID, but actually before that was doing really well. I think with UK people staying at home and having staycations in the UK for the next 2 years or so, I think the hotel sector is a good one to get back into, because prices are a bit lower as well. There's a lot of sellers that have come to us to say, do you know what, I can't deal with this. I want out, just sell my hotel. I'm not really bothered about the price. They've got that, if you look at that pricing graph, they've probably still got more equity in there than they had in 2007-8, but hotels is probably worth having a look at. Care homes, absolutely. The UK population is aging and we all need to be looked after at the end of the day. It's needs driven. It will always be a good market. It is highly regulated, but there is definitely an opportunity there. Doctor surgeries, dentists, pharmacies, absolutely. Medical sectors, needs driven. And so, if you can get yourself into those medical sectors, definitely worth having a look at. Educational establishments, so childcare facilities, those sorts of things, again, needs driven. It'll be interesting to see how the UK population works going forward. We've come from a model where everyone went to the office and dropped their kids off in the morning and came back at 6 or 7 o'clock and picked them up. Well, interestingly, if people are working from home more, maybe there's going to be some more local solutions, and maybe the requirement for those nurseries is going to change. But again, it's people will still need to have their children looked after to not disturb them when they're on their Zoom calls. So my part of retail, convenience, we've talked about it. Absolutely, it's needs driven. Supermarkets is right in the eye of the storm at the moment with the potential takeover of Morrison's by somebody. At the moment it's mooted to be CD&R, the massive American investor, but who knows? And then I've jotted down some others: renewables, warehousing for logistics, online retail. All of those things are going to be interesting things to look at going forward. So I'm just going to finish off with some more specific pricing. So there's just some graphs. Again, these will be in the pack, I guess, which show you where the investment yields are for the fixed income opportunities. And then on the right-hand side, specific to our convenience retail sector, there are some multiples that you'll be needing to pay for different types of convenience store, whether they're primary through to tertiary, depending on whether they're in good locations or not. Very broad, rough rule of thumb is that pricing is expressed as a multiple of weekly sales. So if you're doing £15,000 a week in a store, you'll probably have to pay 150 grand for a lease. If it includes the freehold as well, it could be anything from £200,000 in a low value area up to maybe £500,000 or £600,000 in a higher value location. Central London, forget it. But look, I hope that's insightful and giving you some ideas. I'm not an expert in every part of the UK economy. We have some sector specialisms. I'm in very close contact with my colleagues that look after medical care and so on. So if you're interested in one of those sectors, I can put you in touch with an expert that knows as much about their sector as I do about retail. More than happy to answer any questions as and when we carry on. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I think that was a fantastic and detailed presentation. Whatever you could cover, I think in a shorter time, you did efficiently covered, and same goes with Yash as well. So thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. I guess there are some questions which have come. I think Yash has tried to answer some of them on chat, but probably if you would want to take some of them,
Absolutely.
and maybe I would pick something from, not from, I'll pick up certain questions from here as well. But something on the YouTube is coming, which says that, if someone is looking to set up a management consulting business, can the firm be a subsidiary in UK of a management consulting firm in India, and what are the investment requirement? I think a part of it, yes, you did cover in your your presentation, but would you like to elaborate something more on this?
Absolutely. So to answer that question, how much investment required if you are setting up a branch office of a management consultancy which is based overseas? and absolutely everybody needs some ballpark number, and that ballpark number we have picked up as an immigration law firm based on last 10 years experience is about £50,000. Now, there is no hard and fast requirement at all within the immigration rule. They don't suggest 30, 40, 50,000 or £100,000 when you apply for sole representative visa. The real requirement is you have to have adequate finance to set up a branch office. Then you might ask me follow-up questions. Then how did you reach this number of £50,000? We have reached this number of £50,000 because we instruct a business consultant who mainly prepare business plan for all our clients. So if you have to instruct us, then we instruct someone who is a business consultant specialized in UK businesses. They prepare a business plan for you. They also do a financial forecast for you for next 3 years and how much money would you need to establish this branch office of a service-based business. And based on a lot of business plan we have studied so far for service-based business, it come to us around £50,000 is enough to get sole representative visa. I hope that answers the question in comprehensively here. You are on mute, Deepak.
What about someone is asked about the partnership side? So if someone is looking to do a business in partnership with local companies, how do people go ahead with that?
Absolutely. So first thing first, you need to, of course, identify that partner, the partner you think is right for you, because it's a commitment and of course it's a big business decision. So if you have someone in connection, brilliant. If not, then what's your proposal? I mean, that's what we need to know. Probably drop us an email at contact@advisorsolicitors.com or else reach out to Steve and Steve will of course see they have a very large team who might be able to assist if they can assist. Yeah.
Yeah, just to qualify that point, if it's in our sectors, we definitely know somebody. If it's not in our sectors, we're going to struggle, and yeah. Google is probably just as well a good a place to start.
Okay. The another question which many of people have while even registering asked that you did mention in your fourth slide that single sort of point of services can also be provided. So someone looking at tax VAT registration or similar kind of. So how do your as an organization support this?
Absolutely. So based on, because I've been in UK for almost now 17-18 years, and of course Steve is here for life. Steve has a large team, of course, and I have my network of professionals. We have created strategic partners, so we then put them in touch with the right strategic partners who provide the best possible cost-effective services in the area they need. That's how we will facilitate the solution.
Okay. There was a question about someone being a pharma company looking to acquire a pharma company. So can a little more light be thrown on that part as well?
Yeah, that's for Steve. Steve, if you want to answer this question, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if the target is known, we can work for the acquirer to make the approach and help them with all the due diligence that they might need to do. If it's not a known target and it's just we want to buy a pharmacy company in the UK, then that's one for us to have a specific conversation on, and I will put you in touch with my colleague Simon Hughes that runs our medical team, and they are very well networked across the industry, and we'll be able to come up with some ideas for you, and we could perhaps even do some marketing on your behalf to send a mailing out to all of the companies that you might be interested in. So we can do that for you. We've got very good marketing communications facilities, not only to project the businesses that are for sale, we can also use that to approach businesses that might be of interest to you. So send me a direct message and we'll help you that way around.
Yeah, sure. In fact, a participant who registered with us and some who have joined, some who could not join because there was a large number of registration. Probably we can look at connecting all of them with you, or at least connect with you so that you can also reach out to them in terms of offering what kind of services are available between two of you, and then how it can be expanded with your network in other area where you are not probably expert, but you do have your own network and connect. So that probably could be one way of also reaching out to people and say, if anyone has any other question, I mean, I'm also open to sort of allow them to speak. If you have anything, we can just unmute you and then probably allow you to speak. In case you can raise your hand in case you have any question. So you still some kind of doubt on this. People have asked about to for presentation. This particular program is being also live casted on the YouTube, so you can revisit the YouTube link. We'll be happy to share it just right now, and see the presentation again. I'll just try to see if I can unmute Tejas Mutta. Okay. Yes,
Hello,
Mr. Mutta, you can yeah.
am I audible?
Tell me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
you're audible.
just a quick question on the investment on the second option, which says we can acquire a business. So I heard Steve was talking about businesses and Mr. Dubal as well. So if we invest about £1 million, is that fair enough to acquire a business and then sponsor yourself, or do you have a 2 million minimum floor for that?
Sure, I can answer that for you. So the reply is self-sponsorship concept is different than the investor visa option.
Okay.
So investor visa option is £2 million, right? So you need to invest 2 million. You don't need to do English language test. If you can do English language test, and if you wish to acquire a up and running UK business, you acquire that business. And to run that business, you then self-sponsor yourself to come to the UK under work permit route.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are acquiring business, it starts from £250,000 onwards, maybe 2.5 crore to maybe 5 crore or 10 crore, whatever it might be, your investment criteria. You acquire a business. We, as an immigration lawyer, help that business to get a license, and that company, which is owned by you, will sponsor you to come to the UK and run it. So as simple as that. So in that case, you don't need £2 million if that was to make sense. It's very, very brand new idea, Tejas. Not many lawyers, even in UK, are aware about it.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Deepak, you're mute.
Yeah. Yes, there is a question on about
Q&A?
trading part. Yeah, Q&A. Can you just see Preeti?
Yeah. So there are 4 questions. So shall I pick up of Shankar? Shankar is asking question, can we establish any business with local UK guy and import from India and other countries? So to answer, I mean, Steve, do you want to answer this question of Shankar, please?
Yeah, look, I don't know what the regulatory framework is. That's why you need to speak to Yash from that perspective. But look, I mean, there's lots of companies in the UK that already partner with firms from all around the world. So I can't see there being a major issue. The franchising is probably the most common way to do that. So, for example, if you decided to operate McDonald's in the UK, then you can speak to McDonald's UK and take 4 or 5 franchise units, or however many you can grow it to, and that's the way to do it. In terms of importing from India, I don't know the ins and outs of that, I'm afraid. I can't answer that question any further, but I would think that there's a way to do it, especially in the environment that Dinesh was talking about at the very start during his opening comments, where the UK and India are trying to do a lot more together. There must be a way.
Yes. Right.
Okay, and the second I think question is
I think answer the next one. Yeah, so I can answer Preeti's question. He said, so what he's asking, if she was to send a sole representative, can they be here without any legal registration? I mean, again, the question is about regulatory requirement. If your business is let's say need to be regulated by some regulatory body, let's say if you are opening up a branch office or something that needs to be regulated in the UK, then of course you need those registration. But if it's non-regulated business, then you don't need any legal registration, of course, except which you accept about VAT and HMRC registration, Preeti. So that's answer to your question. But if I'm not being able to answer very precisely, please just drop us an email and we'll probably arrange a call with you.
I think she's giving a clarification that it's a UK national only if the person is UK national only. I don't know whether that makes any sense.
No, see, about having a representative, there can be any legal registration there. So you don't need any legal registration.
This representative is not an Indian representative, but a
Yes.
local national. Okay, UK national.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Any further question? Happy to answer, guys. It's a UK national. Oh, sorry. Okay, Preeti, I'm reading now in chat box. So Preeti, it's a UK national only. Someone who is based there only. Okay, fine. Having that UK representative, can we have them without any legal registration there? Again, Preeti, does your business need to be registered with regulatory body? If the answer is no, then it's fine. So if you are employing someone in the UK, what is your contract with them? Are they your employee or they are your self-employed consultant who you pay from India? So it depends how you recruit them, in what capacity have you recruited them. That's something we need to understand. Good. Yeah. Deepak, I mean, any other question do we have?
Okay. This is one more question, but I'm not sure. As a foreign national, can we have 100% ownership of the company in future as well?
Absolutely, Ragini. I don't see any reason why not. UK is very open and transparent and allows 100% ownership of business. There is no restriction whatsoever.
One of the things that I would like to just mention at this point, which actually I probably should have covered in my presentation as a requirement of the UK, and it's the same for a lot of countries now. We now have very strict money laundering regulations. So if you're buying a business or if you're selling a business in the UK, you have to provide clarity of where the funding is coming from. So anyone that owns a company that wants to buy a business or a property in the UK has to provide evidence that the money is effectively clean, provide identification and certification that it's transparent. So you need to be aware of that. It's just one of those, and actually the agents like us and the lawyers like Yash and the accountants as well, the responsibility has fallen on us to obtain that information. And it's just a piece of red tape that we've got to deal with. So, proof of identity and proof of address and proof of existence are all now very standard things to provide. Know your client, I think. And certification.
Okay. I see accounting also. Okay.
Somebody's asked whether there is accounting outsourcing. Yes, I mean, there are already, I think, lots of providers in India for outsourcing accounting services. So you've already got lots of competition on that one.
Absolutely, yes. I'm aware of few companies who is providing these outsourced accounting services in the UK. But of course, I think you need to establish your niche and generate leads, and that is a question of marketing and sales of your services.
Okay, so I've just shared the webinar link, which is ongoing on the YouTube, and people can refer. I think both the presentation had the contact details. We would also be happy to kind of share the details from both sides, from the registration side as well, and from our side for Yash and Steve. In case you have any query, you can directly write to them as well. And since we do not see any more questions, and I also see that there's nothing on the YouTube as of now, I would like to request Dr. Mohan Kaul to propose a concluding remarks. Dr. Mohan Kaul is the president of Indian Partnership Forum, and we are the collaborator for this program. So, Dr. Kaul, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Deepak, for organizing this seminar. And I thank you and Dr. Param Shah for taking the lead. I'm grateful to Mr. Dinesh Joshi for making the opening remarks. And it looks, Mr. Joshi, there is a lot of interest in your members to be looking at opportunities in UK. As you mentioned in the opening remarks, this is the best time for India and UK to work together. And both prime ministers have been showing a lot of interest. And both could not visit each other because of the COVID, but we expect these visits to take place very soon. And as you said, there is a large trading agreement which the UK government and Indian government is working. So as far as the interest is concerned, there's a large Indian diaspora. As both Steve and Yash said, they are in all the businesses, in retail to all hotels, to everywhere, as you know very well. So we would really like more Indian businesses to come and set up offices here, set partnerships here, buy businesses here, and increase the India-UK trade. And that's what FICCI is there, and IPF is there, and other agencies are working together to make it happen. So I hope we will have similar opportunities and similar webinars to take this topic forward, and we'll love to work with FICCI on this. Thank you very much. Thank you, all the delegates. Thank you for all the FICCI and our Yash and Steve and Mr. Dinesh Joshi. Thank you very much for your presence.
Thank you, Dr. Kaul. I'm sure we will find more synergies and opportunities to work together. This was just a first engagement, and I think this also gives us a lot of information from the point of view of what exactly Yash and Steve wanted to convey, through their presentation or in terms of opportunity. So whenever we do it, in future, we also have a far more clarity on what we are communicating to our members. So this was a very excellent and great session, and I hope many people would revisit this on YouTube and take benefit of this. And we'll be happy to share the coordinates of everyone, so that this at least the interest which has been generated gets somewhere closed and have some fruitful ending towards new businesses. So again, thank you very much for partnering with us, and delighted to host all of you. And have a safe time. I know UK is still, I mean, it's coming out much better than what we are. But hopefully, this would be the last year of pandemic. So yes, any last comment you want to add?
Yeah, in the start of the webinar, because our attendees have spent almost 1.5 hours, and I promised them something as a gift, and the gift I wanted to give them is my time, if I may be allowed. And for that reason, what I do is I just share my Calendly link. If someone wants to talk to me just for 15 minutes, more than happy to have a brainstorm, probably give them a little bit of direction as to how they want to navigate their UK journey while they want to migrate. So I've just shared my Calendly link in the chat box. Anyone wants to have a chat with me for 15 minutes, I'm more than happy to spend that time with me. That's my diary. Happy to have that call. And of course, we will share the copy of this PowerPoint presentation of Steve and myself with all registrant. And then, if they'd be happy to, have a look at it, get in touch with Steve's company directly, Christian, or get in touch with us. We'll be happy to help.
Thank you, Ash. Time is money, so thank you for offering the time of yours, and I hope some people will take benefit of it.
Thank you.
So again, thank you, Dinesh, Dr. Kaul, Steve, Yash, for being here and sharing your thoughts on the subject. Thank you very much. So
Thank you.
Thanks, Yash, Steve, Dr. Kaul, and Mr. Shah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.